Welcome to the AI Hub, a podcast for AI-driven side hustles designed for IT professionals like you.
From cutting-edge AI tools to practical, no-nonsense tips, each episode brings you closer to turning tech into income.
Tune in to discover smart and sustainable ways to boost your career and income with AI.
Hey everyone, and welcome to AI Hub. It's Larry here, and I'm joined by Amanda, as always, ready for another deep dive into some fascinating AI trends.
Absolutely. And a very Merry Christmas to everyone tuning in.
Merry Christmas. You're probably all busy with family and presents and everything, so
yeah,
we'll try to keep this one a little shorter than usual.
Yeah.
You know,
right.
kind of
Sure.
like a holiday treat. Small, but hopefully still packed with some good insights.
Okay.
But speaking of interesting trends, we came across some research on how folks in India are looking at and adapting to the whole AI revolution.
Yeah, it really is interesting. You always hear so much about, people being anxious about AI, job losses, and all of that.
Right.
But this study really paints a different picture, at least when it comes to India.
Yeah. So let's jump right in. One of the first things that really stood out to us was the level of trust that Indian workers seem to have in both their government and their businesses to kind of help them through these big technological changes.
Yeah, that was really striking.
I mean, think about it. 31% of the people surveyed said they trusted their government to support them in navigating the AI revolution.
Right, and that's compared to a global average of just 16%.
Yeah, quite a difference.
Yeah.
But it's not just the government. Even more Indian workers, like 35% of them said they trusted businesses in India to support them in making this transition.
Yeah, that's pretty remarkable, I think.
It is. But here's the thing. It's not like they're being naive about the potential challenges either, right?
Oh, absolutely not. The study also found that a significant chunk of Indian workers believe their current skills could become obsolete within just the next 5 years because of AI. They're not just ignoring the potential disruption here.
Yeah, it seems like they're acknowledging that things are going to change and maybe pretty drastically, but they still have this faith in their institutions to help them through it.
Yeah, and you know what I found interesting? This concern about job displacement was actually higher in India than in other countries the study looked at, like Brazil and the UK.
Wow. Okay, so even more concerned than those places, but still more optimistic about the future with AI.
Exactly. There's this interesting paradox there. Maybe it has something to do with the fact that Indian workers seem to be incredibly proactive when it comes to upskilling, to getting ready for this future with AI. The study found that 55% of them are actively working to enhance their skills. That's a higher percentage than in the US and the UK.
Wow. So they're really taking ownership.
Yeah.
Not just waiting around to see what happens.
Exactly. And, while a lot of the focus globally, at least in places like the US and Europe, seems to be on developing STEM skills, science, technology, engineering, math, all super important stuff, India seems to be prioritizing something a little different.
Oh, yeah, that was really interesting.
Yeah.
So what are they focused on?
Well, their top priorities for future skills development seem to be cognitive skills, things like critical thinking, problem solving, creativity, and also service orientation. Yeah. The ability to really connect with people and understand their needs.
That's so fascinating to me. What do you make of that? Do you think it's because they're kind of anticipating a world where AI handles a lot of the more technical tasks, the hard skills?
Yeah, I think there could be something to that, definitely.
Right. So that opens up this space for uniquely human skills to become even more valuable. Things AI can't replicate as easily, right?
Absolutely.
Maybe that's part of the reason why they're more optimistic. They see a future where they're not being replaced by AI, but working alongside it in this kind of collaborative way.
Yeah, I think that's a really insightful point. And it makes you wonder, too, if India's vision of how AI is going to reshape the workplace is just fundamentally different from other parts of the world. This idea that human interaction remains absolutely central even as technology advances.
Yeah, it really does make you think. Before we wrap up, though, there was one other finding from this study I wanted to touch on briefly. It seems cybersecurity professionals in India are reporting really high levels of stress. I wonder if that's connected to this whole thing with AI. As more businesses adopt AI technologies, the threats become more sophisticated, more complex.
Absolutely. And it makes sense that the folks on the front lines trying to protect against those threats would be feeling the pressure.
For sure.
Yeah.
Cybersecurity is going to be a huge EE field moving forward, especially with AI in the mix. Maybe even worthy of its own deep dive one of these days.
Oh, I think we could talk about that for hours.
Yeah, I think so too.
Yeah.
All right, so let's pull back for a second and sort of recap what we've learned today, because I think there's a lot to chew on here.
Yeah, definitely.
Indian workers seem to be facing this AI revolution, head on, with this really interesting blend of optimism and pragmatism, right?
Yeah, I think that's a great way to put it.
They trust their institutions, they're actively upskilling, and they're really focusing on what they see as the skills of the future, the really human skills.
It's an approach we could all probably learn something from, I think.
Yeah, absolutely. It really makes you wonder, though, what does India's unique perspective tell us about how the global landscape might change in the years to come? Something to ponder as we head into the new year, right?
Absolutely.
And if you want to keep pondering these kinds of questions with us, well, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss our next deep dive. We'll be back after the holidays with more fascinating AI trends to explore.
See you then.
See you then.
Welcome to the AI Hub, a podcast for AI-driven side hustles designed for IT professionals like you.
From cutting-edge AI tools to practical, no-nonsense tips, each episode brings you closer to turning tech into income.
Tune in to discover smart and sustainable ways to boost your career and income with AI.